Hello everyone and welcome back to another Fam 2 Cents cooking video, and today we're going to try our hands at Salisbury steak, which I have never made at home before. This is my first time ever making it, my first attempt or first crack at this. As you can see, prepping the meat is fairly simple. You're basically going to use whatever mix you generally use to make meatballs. That's kind of what I ended up doing. 2 pounds of hamburger meat, about 3 cloves of garlic, half an onion, and I saved the other half of the onion for the sauce. 2 eggs, salt 2 tablespoons, pepper about 1 tablespoon, seasoned salt 2 tablespoons, and steak seasoning 2 tablespoons. So you want to go ahead and mix that up really well with your hands and get that nice and ready to be patted out, just like you would regular burgers. Now, I wasn't really sure exactly on the size, like exactly what size I should go for, so I just went for about the palm of my hand. I figured that'd be probably the most reasonable, so I went on ahead and laid out some parchment paper and I started laying them out after I patted them out, and just kind of formed them the best way that I can. Nothing too formulaic about this, just, you know, pat them out, lay them down, and the parchment paper is to separate the meat so I don't have to stack them on top of each other or whatever. And that part was pretty straightforward. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I'm kind of just winging it. The only thing I got from the recipe that I saw was just some of the ingredients themselves and just how the basic structure of it. But everything else I'm kind of just winging based on my assumption on how it would be made. So I could be doing this completely wrong. This might not be what people consider Salisbury steak, but it tastes just like what I remember. You know, obviously without being like super salty, you know, when you eat like fast food, not fast food, but like TV dinners or whatever, Salisbury steak. So as you can see, I tossed them right into the Ninja Foodie, and I have them searing on the bottom there, and they're just gonna cook. And obviously I'm gonna have to do them in batches. And I used the kind of fat and stuff that is going to form after cooking these burgers to set the base for my sauce, which in retrospect I don't know if I would do again, because well, I don't know, I think it worked out fine. My sauce was a bit thinner than I wanted it to be at the end of this, but man, it was really delicious, guys. It turned out really good. So after I was done cooking the meat, I went on ahead and tossed the onions in there with the last patty while that was doing its thing, to allow the onions to kind of start cooking ahead of time and start to, you know, soak up some of that flavoring on the bottom there. And then I went on ahead and tossed the mushrooms in, because the mushrooms are really absorbent. As you can see, they pretty much soaked up a lot of that extra excess, which is really why I like the combination of mushrooms and onions or whatever, because they really soak up whatever's in the pan and take on that flavor directly, and I really like that. So and I don't know if you guys have noticed the pattern, but I've been using mushrooms in a lot of my recipes. I really love mushrooms. And I spent probably the first 2 years of me and Squishy's relationship not eating them because she told me she didn't like them. But now that I've, you know, fed them to her and she's finally like, oh wait, these are actually delicious, I am not pulling any punches now. So as you guys can see there, I went on ahead and tossed some flour in there, and I'm gonna allow that flour to cook a bit with the onions and mushrooms so it can cook down and get rid of that floury flavor before I toss some beef broth in there that I had cooking on the side. Beef broth was just made with bouillon as usual. I don't like to, like I said, I don't like to just keep broth in liquid form around because it goes bad, because I don't always use it when I need to or whatever. So bouillon is the next best thing. And as you can see, I'm just kind of getting that broth in there and allowing the flavors to really simmer and get to know each other a little bit. And what I'm gonna do here is, after I get this cooked down to the point to where I want it, I'm gonna go ahead and toss the patties back in there and just basically allow that to cook in the pressure cooker for some time until it cooks down to where I want it to be. And that's it, pretty much. Like that was kind of the recipe. Now my thought process behind the pressure cooking was when I remembered Salisbury steak, I remembered the meat being really tender, really soft and easy to cut through. It wasn't like the consistency of a hamburger, so that's why I decided to pressure cook it, but it did thin out my sauce quite a bit. So I think what I'm going to do next time is after I do that, I'm going to probably get a little bit of cornstarch and some water, mix that together and pour it in there to thicken it up. Instead of doing that though, what I decided to do was just kind of boil it out for a little bit and allow it to reduce as much as I could, which concentrated the flavors a bit and thickened up the sauce just a little bit. But I think I wanted it to be a little bit thicker, but that's not really a big deal because it was good regardless. Like it was delicious. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and it reminded me of that kind of old school Salisbury steak feeling, just not all salty and processed. Tasted homemade and delicious, and I think this was an excellent first attempt. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any recipes regarding Salisbury steak that you've either tried or that you know definitely works for you, let me know and I'll give it a shot. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys on the next one.